Here's a little different type of video today. The question I always get is, how's the market? I'm a real estate agent. That's what everybody always asks, even though I don't think they really have a point to that. But I thought I would just come on here and tell you what I'm experiencing in the marketplace right now for the Easter long weekend. So happy long weekend, everybody. It is, as of today, March 28th. And the market is, in my estimation, slowing down. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. We've obviously got affordability that's an issue. I was just talking about interest rates with my mortgage broker, who I send most of my clients to. He says interest rates in the 3-year fixed are now coming down into quite affordable rates compared to where they have been over the last bit. So in his estimation, like, people should be starting to come back to the market, but that's not what we're seeing in the marketplace right now. And if anything, it's starting to go the other way. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. A couple of things I'm seeing out there. Just first of all, from being on YouTube, being on this platform, views on videos are way down. Views on videos are way down for everybody. I think that just is a reflection of kind of people are out of this frenzy of thinking that real estate is this crazy either get rich quick scheme or whatnot. Whatever came out of the pandemic, whatever that was, where money was just floating around, it's finally starting to die down. And I think that's a very good thing. Unless, of course, you're on the doom and gloom side of things, and then your videos are still killing it because, hey, you can't stop people from watching that stuff on YouTube. But I think it's a good thing that general interest across all the guys in kind of my space and girls in kind of this space that I work in, they're seeing less views because there's just generally less interest. And that's also showing across the market. I think people are fatigued about real estate in Canada, and a lot of people they're just losing interest. So let me show you an example here. Well, let me tell you an example right now. YouTube business right now for us, come about 30% of our business year over year for the last number of years now. And at this point, we're only working with a few people that we've met here off of this platform. The podcast side actually is going quite well because that's growing. But this channel, much less than before. But it's strange because I'm having a much better year than previous years, and that's all repeat business. So I'm thankful that I have that business. But for those agents that relied on things like social media like this for the core of their business, for their income, I think those guys are all going to be hurting over the next bit here. And very thankful that I've run a long, successful business off of basically word of mouth for more than 15 years now. But let me talk to you a little bit about exactly what I say in the marketplace. So our clients aren't coming from this media source. They're coming from our database, and a lot of them are selling, and a lot of them are looking for a new property. That was also not a thing over the last little while. One of the things that we saw for the longest time was people were acquiring investment properties when money was cheap. I did myself. I'm guilty of that myself. First-time buyers were entering the market, but people who had property stayed in the property, and that was actually a big part of the problem. There was not those people weren't moving, but they weren't afraid to maybe acquire another property, but they weren't moving. Now we're seeing those first-time buyers are basically gone. At this point in time, we've got like 2 or 3 first-time buyers working with our team right now, and they're basically out of the marketplace. They're just not interested at this current time. Could be for many reasons, but the people that are moving are doing 2 sides of a transaction. A lot of them are downsizing. Some of them are moving up, but they're now buying and selling. For us personally in our business, that's a fantastic thing because now you have 2 kind of ends to the sale, right? You've got a sale and then a purchase eventually. For previous years, and this was almost through like 2016 when we had the first real run, 2015, 2016. At that point in time, we had so many people leaving. And this continued all the way through last year. We just had people selling their longtime property, just leaving town. We still have that a little bit, but not nearly to the extent that was there before. Previously, for the last 3 years, we only had less than a quarter of our clients sell and then buy another property. Right now, thankfully, again, for the business, it's actually, it's more like 75% right now this year. So again, that's good for our business. We have to do a lot less, or we have to get less, I guess, clients. We do the more transactions, but we actually have to get less clients because they're doing two ends of the transaction instead of one. But here's why I wanted to get this message out, and it's not a regularly scheduled video. It's not edited at all. There's not going to be an edit in this at all, is because this long weekend, I'm seeing a trend that I think we are going to see exacerbate over the next little bit, if that's a good word to use. Let me see if I can show this to you here. Again, no editing, just screen cap. Listings versus sales. So this March, we've got 2,715 so far. Listings as of yesterday that came on the marketplace. And not only, I mean, it's a good number, 1,257 sales. But at the same time, 1,965 this time last year and 1,200 sales. So what you're seeing here is basically 650, well, exactly 650 more listings coming to the marketplace now than the same time last year. Last year got hot, but if you removed 600 listings, it would actually be a heck of a lot hotter. Let me show you what I mean by that. The total number, if you follow me anywhere here, active listings is what I cover quite often. 5,372 active listings currently on the market. That number in a nice, cool, calm, and collected market is 6,000. We're getting there very quickly. We are getting there. Last year, it did top 6,000 in like September when the market really slowed down. Interest rates went up to about 6.5%. I should edit these more. My nose wiping gets edited out in my regular videos. But when we got there, that's a nice, cool, calm, collected area where buyers can think about a property overnight. They usually don't have to worry about competing too much. So that's about 6,000 to 6,500 listings. But last year at this time, we were way down. We were still in the fours. Now we're at 53, almost 5,400. But again, let me talk about the trend I'm seeing. I personally, next week, have 4 listings coming to the market, and I'm talking to other agents that all have listings stacked up coming to the market. And right now, the buyers aren't really coming out of the woodwork. I mean, there's the listings that we do have on the market are getting some showings, but unless it's priced really, really well, it's taking longer than it was before. Sellers aren't used to that. We're starting to now see sellers that really have this crazy astronomical price. When the market was going up, you would definitely overshoot your seller's expectations. So, hey, you put it on the market for $1 million, it would sell for $1.1 million. Everybody's great. Everybody's happy. Even the buyer's happy. But now what we're starting to see is a place will be worth $1.5 million and the seller wants $2 million, or the seller wants $2.5 million. Like, they're just so far out to lunch. So it's really hard if you're not a skilled agent to get those properties in the right price point in order for them to sell. Now, if you do, they're still selling relatively quickly. Some of them take a little bit longer, but I mean, within 21 days, any property is sold if it's priced correctly. So it's not really the end of the world. But this flood of listings that's coming on with all of these buyers that have just hit the brakes, it's going to be a lot slower. And I think we're going to start to see those numbers really creep up. And if we don't see rates come down, now we are seeing rates come down in the 3-year fixed rates, but if we don't see the messaging for instance, the Bank of Canada start to cut rates and that sort of thing, you're going to continue to see these listings come on the market. And I guess the big misnomer is a lot of these sellers, they're not desperate to sell. So they're okay just sitting on the market at these stupid prices that mean absolutely nothing. And they're not even really for sale if they are doing that, right? They're just kind of clogging up the market with product that's never going to sell. There are a few, and not many, but there are a few sellers now that are starting to come to me and say, listen, I'm not continuing with this property when my mortgage comes up 2025. So we're either going to sell it now, we're going to sell it this fall, we're going to get ready to sell it next spring, whatever it is. But there's a couple. There's not that many. What I'm shocked at, and I guess this is kind of the realtor talk for me, is how everybody works in the same direction. All the sheep are going always in the same direction. So as we now see listings coming to the market and they're starting to stack up, That's a result of buyers now putting on the brakes, right? They can't afford the properties. They don't want to pay that much for the properties, whatever it is. The buyers are putting on the brakes. And as interest rates come down, some buyers will start to see opportunity there, and they'll realize that this is the slow market I should be buying in. But unfortunately, what most people are going to do is they're going to sit on the sidelines and wait until something happens. Maybe rates do. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe rates do come down 3/4 of a point by the end of the year. And maybe next spring we're back off to the races again. 2025, maybe it's a zoo again. I don't know. I personally don't think we're going to see the rate cuts. And then I think there's going to be a ton of people that are going to miss out on good opportunities. Prices did rise, but I just don't see prices continuing to rise through this spring market. Actually, I think what has happened is we saw the spring market kick off this year, on December 15th of 2023. And it actually ran at a crazy pace through February. And then that 5-year money started going back up to like 5.5%. And buyers put the brakes on, and sellers still want what they could have maybe had either last spring. And well, some sellers want more than what they could have at the peak, 2 years ago. But that's the nature of the market. This is actually not necessarily bad. If when I go into a listing, for the first 12 years of my career, I went into a listing, maybe a little less than that. But in the beginning of my career, you went into a listing and you had to talk your seller off for wanting too much money for their home. It shouldn't be that a seller their mind is blown by their property selling for way more than they ever thought it would be worth. Most sellers think that their property is worth a crazy amount of money, and then it's up to me to educate them on what real market value is. And then it's up to the buyer to offer whatever they think market value is. But we are seeing another crazy trend, which is when the market does start to slow like this, and I think it is starting to slow and showing signs that it will start to slow. Continually more start to show than it currently has. Then you also have this crazy trend of these buyers who are like, oh, it's slow out there. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go offer 20% less on that property. I had one just recently. The buyers came in and offered, I'm going to say, if I had to guess, let's do the quick math. It was about 8.5% under the asking price. And we were priced perfectly. They brought us that offer. We dealt with it. Obviously, it did not come together. The next offer we got actually sold for above the asking price because it went into multiple offers. So these are the types of things that we're dealing with. And you're not going to blame those buyers. They've been looking for an advantage for them. And now that it's starting to swing towards their advantage, what I think will be their advantage over the next couple of months, you can't blame them for trying, but also their agents aren't really educating them correctly, thinking that you're just going to come in and buy something 20% under market. Because, if that property is not sold and it's maybe 2 or 3% above market value, if they just dropped it 2 or 3%, it would sell. If they had any interest in selling it for 10% under market or under their list price, they would probably drop the price there. But enough about my ranting. I hope everybody has a great long weekend. Happy Easter and Good Friday and all that wonderful stuff. I want everybody to know I do think the market is showing signs of slowing, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we should get back to some regular real estate over the next little bit, and that is where buyers don't want to pay the price that a seller is asking, and sellers don't want to accept the price of which buyers are offering. So that's pretty normal real estate. Anyway, different video. Have a great long weekend. Subscribe, click the like button. We'll see you in a couple of days.